So, whenever you deal with a fake person, at first you don't know they're fake, but over time you know they're fake. And if they're fake to you, they're fake to others, and they're fake to themselves, because it's really not possible to shapeshift and not affect you, especially if they do that over a lifetime. And so, like my first wife, she was fake, and you're just being yourself, and they don't like it. They want to change you. I said, you're wasting your time, because you're not going to change me. Your mama, your brother, your sister, none of you are going to change me. I don't know why you keep thinking you're going to change me. It's just not going to happen. Because they want the fake steak. They want the fake reality. I said, when we met, I was working with a phone company, and I was making good money. And now that the phone company's over, I think I'm gonna just go work and do something I enjoy. And it don't pay a whole lot, but I enjoy it all day. Because at first, I was working all the time to take care of climbing telephone poles and the lightning and the rain. It's like, I think I'm going to just do my thing, because you can't make somebody else happy. They have to be happy within. And any kind of good times that they might remember, that person don't exist anymore. So all that time they invested early on in the good times don't even exist anymore. That person don't even exist. And so all those memories they had that they invested in and wasted time on, that they tried to, it's just weird. Why can't people just be themselves? I don't understand it. Why fake? Why pretend? Anyway, all that time she invested, and I change every 2 months. I force myself to change. I say, Lord, change me every 2 months, because I don't want to be stagnated and down in this place. But anyway, let's say one of my, somebody I knew 25, 30 years ago, she showed up on the job about 3 years ago. And I'm not even that same person. And I'm looking at her like, you seem like the same person, And it's like, everybody changes, but they want to see who you are from the past, because they have some kind of past memory, and that person don't even exist anymore. And so all that wasted time, they wasted, and I used it to push myself higher. Every situation, whether it was growing up, whether it was high school, whether it was college roommates, whether it was first girlfriends, whether it was a marriage or a divorce or a split up or whatever it was, I change, I adapt, I evolve, I develop. I don't live in the past. Those people to me don't even exist anymore. If they're not here today, daily, every day, they don't exist anymore. And then when they show back up, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever, the person they knew doesn't exist anymore. Last 2 or 3 weeks ago, I was at the Chick-fil-A, and I saw one of my best friends from high school, and talked to him for many years. Was in my wedding, and I don't know that guy anymore. I mean, he hasn't changed. The words that were coming out of his mouth were the same as they were whenever it was, 10 years ago, whatever. They don't grow. People don't grow. The problem with people who get in a little culture a little family, bloodline, they reinforce each other to stay stagnated. Instead of pushing, and these local churches do it too. Instead of you growing and developing and learning new skills and becoming a new person and stretching your mind, they don't want you to grow. And when you leave the box, they have to attack you. He's crazy. He's insane. He's delusional. Just because you haven't grown doesn't mean I'm not. It doesn't mean I'm going to stay stagnated. I don't care if it's an ex-wife. I don't care if it's an ex-friend. I don't care if it's a mama, a daddy. I'm moving on up like the Jeffersons. I'm like the Jeffersons spiritually. Moving on up. And if you want to stay stagnated, hang out with those kind of people, because it ain't me. It ain't me. And I'm talking about psychologically, mentally, spiritually, financially, knowledge-wise. I used to study math and engineering and all. I don't even care about that anymore. Now I study the etymology, which I've already mastered that. And so whenever I master a subject, I move on. Now I'm not saying I mastered mathematics, because you never would, or engineering. Engineering's pretty much basics, you know. Electrical is Ohm's law, E is equal to IR. Those certain laws are steady state. So once you learn the basic laws of electrical engineering, I mean, what else is there? Just capacitor, inductor, resistor, voltage, current, amperage. I mean, come on. What else can you do? Now the computers can solve all the circuit problems. And so once you master a topic, move on to something else. Everything gets boring. This place is so boring to me now. I mean, even working on cars, changing brakes, changing the spark plugs, whatever, it's boring. The whole thing is boring. So what do you do if it's all boring? You push yourself spiritually. You move into the other realm. And sometimes that gets old. You might say, what are you talking about, the other realm? The mystical realm. The mystical realm. Like I could do it right here in real time. All right, so watch this. Let's think about a bottle. In my mind, I'm not even looking on the street. Let's think about a plastic bottle. And I'm seeing it. Just imagine it in your mind, the plastic bottle. It could have a label on it or not. It could be a water bottle or a drink or whatever. Let's just see if one shows up on the street here. A plastic bottle where you drink a liquid out of it. Let's see if one shows up. And you got to give it enough time to germinate, to appear, the cycle. So you turn it over in your mind, a bottle. You imagine somebody drinking out of the bottle. If somebody threw it out on the street, car might have ran over it. So you have to give it time to appear. Now, if you start to see stuff on the street already, then it's going to appear. But I'm trying to use my thoughts. I'm using my brain to make it appear. There's a cup to drink out of. Not a bottle, but it's a cup. And they clean this road quite often, because this is the Coliseum. Let's take a right turn right here. We're looking for a plastic water bottle or a drinking bottle, a plastic. You might say, what are you talking about? Well, see these cups right there? There's a cup, big gulp, there's a cup. So we see the cups repeating already because I saw one, right? So let's see, there's 2 more cups. 2 more cups. Right there, 2 cups. A plastic cup and a paper cup. So we saw the cup over there on the street and it had to repeat. There's a bottle, there's a Coca-Cola bottle smashed, but I'm looking for a bottle that's not even smashed. That was a bottle. It appeared. There's a paper plate right there. I'm trying to put the seed out there and turn it over in my mind so that it bursts, right? So here's how it works. The seed goes into the womb, right? The seed goes into the womb and the word vulva is turned. So there's another. There's another cup. Okay. So we saw a smashed water bottle. I said that, but I want to see a water bottle that's not smashed. And so the seed goes into the vagina. Vulva means turn. And so then there's a conception, turn, a cycle of time to birth. And so as you turn the thought is the seed, you turn it over in your mind. Imagine somebody drinking a water bottle and just throwing it out the window or something. That guy was waving, thought I was his friend. So you turn it over in your mind and it has to appear, because mind over matter. That saying is there for a reason. There's a bottle. Okay, there it is. That's a water bottle, not as smashed as the other one. The other one's like flat. That one's had little crinkles in it. So it's mind over matter, and all the sayings and the nursery rhymes and all that. That stuff's there for a reason. It's nothing's coincidence. There's no coinky dink. So we saw a smashed bottle after I said this crushed bottle. Then we saw one that was halfway smashed. Can I get a bottle that's completely, and it was a water bottle. I think that one was a water bottle. The other one was a Coca-Cola bottle. Y'all remodeling that house? Y'all got a card? All right, I'll come. I live nearby. I'll come back over here. Electrician is in the back. All right, thank you. He's right there. So right there in the front yard is a clear bottle. Y'all remodeling? Y'all remodeling? Yeah, I bet that's a big job doing electrical, ain't it? You got a card? So that guy was on the front porch sitting there, and there was a water bottle that was clearly, and you might say, okay, a bottle's easy. Is it? Anyway, that guy's an electrician. I got his card. I'm gonna get him to give me a quote on something. So I had a smashed bottle, one that was and then a full bottle, and I didn't want to put the camera right there while I was talking to that guy. It'd be rude, you know. And it has to work. And when I first started experimenting with it, I thought, this is crazy. Am I losing my mind? But no. So everything is this way. Your thoughts plant the seed. You turn it over in your mind. And it has to appear, because everything has already happened before. It's all happening now. There's nothing new. There's a bottle. There's a solid bottle. Let me turn around and show you. I knew I'd see another one. That's why I instead of going straight, I took a right. Let me show you. And you might say, well, this is dumb. Anybody could do a bottle. Exactly. You can do it with anything. You can do it with cones. You can do it with wood. You can do it with paper. You can do it with anything. Anything, really. That's why I get so much free wood, because I turn it over in my mind. I need a piece of plywood or this for this. And sure enough, I get the plywood I need and the flooring. I got the free flooring, you know. Check this out. Some things you have to buy new, because there's a can. Let me pull over, put it on the side so you can see this. Where was it? I know I saw it. Yeah, there it is. I gotta wait for this traffic to go by, because and that's one of those bottles that's you can't. It's more of a sturdy. So what happened was, we saw the crushed bottle, then we saw one halfway crushed, then we saw the water bottle, then we saw a stronger version of a plastic bottle. Look at that. And what I was just talking about, I said you find wood on the side of the road. I want you to see this. I said you find wood on the side of the road. Now this is not good wood, it's junk, but look at that. As soon as I said it, look, there it is. So my point is, you might say, well, how does that work? How's that possible? You might be going crazy right now because I'm destroying your worldview, and that's a video I didn't upload. I deleted it because I said, look, I'm here to destroy your worldview. And if I can destroy your worldview, it needed to be destroyed, because if I can't destroy your worldview, then it's based on absolute truth. But if it's not based on absolute truth, and I destroy your worldview, that's a good thing, because it'll force you to seek absolute truth. If I can destroy your worldview, then that means you're not solid, and you need to be solid. And I'm back on track. I had to talk my way through it. I had to go through a little bump in the road. The bump in the road that I went through. Here's the bump in the road that I went through. So this is my life, right? And there's this other life over here. And I'm sitting here content. You know, I do have some goals I'm working on. But the devil shows up and says, this is so much better. Your life could be better. This life that you're living is not that exciting, or it could be this much better. And it's said in such a way that is very manipulative, under the radar, under the threshold of the door, right? So if the devil's trying to mess with you, here's your door, here's your threshold, and you walk over the threshold, right? So your thoughts and your mind, this is the threshold. And so when you go to the front door, you walk over the threshold. But then so imagine your thoughts are the obvious thoughts. I'm going to the store, I'm working, I'm doing this. But the devil, when he tries to get in the door, it's under the threshold. It's your subconscious. So words are being said that are hitting your subconscious to try to make you think that this is better than this. When actually, the more you think about it, this is worse than this, because you're losing your peace, you're losing a lot of stuff. And so when you see the game that's being played by salespeople, by employers, by in-laws, neighbors, family, wife, when you see they say these words that are just like under the threshold, it's like a little groove, just one little comment, and then you start to take notes because you say, okay. And so then you see the pattern. And the pattern is to make you think that this life is better than this life. And as you step away, and this is off in the background somewhere, and you just get back to meditation and peace, you're like, no, I've actually already experienced that, and it's nothing but chaos and discontentment. So this needs to go back on the shelf somewhere, because this is where it's at. Now, if these two could combine in a way to where both situations could walk together, Amos 3:3, how could two walk together except they be in agreement? If they could do that, yeah, it could enhance the experience down here. But most of the time, the way this life is, this one's stubborn, and the two shall never meet, you know? And that's just the way it is. But what God allowed me to see, He allowed me to see this other timeline that I walked away from because it was chaos, what it would have ended up like. And by walking away from that timeline, it's like, oh, God wanted me to grow spiritually in ways that you couldn't have if somebody was distracting you all the time with stupid stuff that didn't really matter. Long story short, there's things happening all around you all the time under the radar. And if there's a bunch of voices coming at you, there's usually under the radar innuendos or subliminals trying to pull you off of God's will onto somebody else's will, or just distract you so you don't accomplish anything. And when you start to wake up to the fact that this is a real game, and the spirit in somebody doesn't line up with the truth, or does it line up with the serpent? The serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field. And the word subtle is under the radar. If I was to walk in that house, knock on the door, they open the door, I walk through the front door, I'm right there. It's obvious, right? But if I walk in there with ulterior motives to steal, kill, and destroy, the words in my mouth to attack that person would be under the radar. Yeah, I'm walking across, but there's also a unseen communion, conversation. To see, the devil's going to come in and make, oh, I'm your best friend. I got your back. I'm on your team. But at the whole time, they're trying to pull you down. So this is you. This is how the devil works. And he don't just show up. He comes in a person, right? The devil has to come in a person. So the devil, he's going to go under the radar and grab the unseen realm. This is a real battle. The alternative, all whatever. Instead of a person coming in and supporting, whether it's just words or encouragement or positivity, or if it's a wife being a helper, a helpmeet, help you achieve your goal, instead of them supporting, they're trying to pull you down. It's like somebody. It's like you were standing on that ground over there and somebody dug a tunnel and reached up and pulled you down. That's what it is. Under the radar, under the threshold. It's kind of like if you're standing in the yard talking about whatever, and a spy dug a hole and was underneath there and heard your conversation, and they go back to the base camp, come back over there, and they set a plan. And then as soon as you're standing there again, somebody sends a signal, and they reach up, grab you, and pull you down in the pit, you know. Who was it? The prodigal son? I'm going to go have some fun in the pig pen. Really? You think the pig pen's fun? And then he had enough time in the pig pen, and he said, Daddy, Papa, Dad, can I come home? I just want to come back home. I'll sweep floors. He said, no, you don't have to sweep floors. I'm just glad you came back. Came back with the right heart. And that should be true about any situation. If somebody wants to get back in their world, they need to come back with a right heart. If the heart ain't right, just stay on down the road. Because if you don't have a pure heart to build up and to help and to edify and take somebody's agenda, if they're trying to take their agenda and use you to build their agenda, but they know your agenda, you're doing fine without them, but they're trying to convince you that life would be better here, your life is terrible here. Can you imagine the corruptness of that person's heart to try to manipulate you to do their agenda when you never needed them to begin with, but they try to convince you that you need them when you never needed them to begin with? Can you imagine how manipulative, how much of a satanic, demonic serpent seed that has to be? You talk about a serpent seed, and if you can't come to a decision, then somebody needs going down the road. And if they showed up in your world, they need to go on down the road, because they're barking up the wrong tree.